Welcome to Never Rewrite. I'm Isaac Askew.
And I'm Dustin Rea.
And I'm Jeffrey Sherman. And today we're going to talk about vibe coding.
Woo!
So, woo! Uh, we were talking offline in the green room about whether or not vibe coding is the new, my brother's genius son wrote me a web app, or it used to be a website, then became an app, and then it is the long-term, long-standing joke and fodder for many consultants' livelihoods of fixing something that was written in the pre-vibe coded days by some high school student who hacked their way through something. And is vibe coding the new version of that? Does it change anything? Uh, so, Dustin, have you encountered? I guess you do a lot of consulting with people who are entrepreneurs. Have you encountered more entrepreneurs who are, I vibe coded the first version of my app versus I got a high school kid to write the first version of my app?
Yeah, it's something that I see a lot from clients, both from before and today. And I think there's even like a mix of like still it's my cousin or uncle's nephew, whatever, about is the one doing the vibe coding as well. So you kind of get a combination there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think my experience has been probably the opposite that you would think from the topic or the title, and that's that I've seen the high school kids kind of app and been like,
Mm-hmm.
wow, that's really not even going to work at all. And then I've also seen vibe coded apps that I was pleasantly surprised from completely non-technical people that were, I was like, wow, that's pretty close. That's surprisingly
Hmm.
close to being good. So it's kind of the opposite that I think I would have anticipated. But there's also, I think there's both sides of the spectrum, you know, on both sides.
So your experience is that the vibe coded stuff is better than a well-meaning amateur production.
Yeah, I would say that a well-meaning amateur that is vibe coding has a much better chance of success than a well-meaning amateur without the vibe coding tools.
Hmm.
That's been my experience.
And has it led to inflated expectations or more realistic expectations?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think a little bit of both. I think sometimes the inflated expectation is around like speed, and I think that that is very true in the honeymoon phase when you're like building your MVP or like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure we've all experienced that if you're just doing some POC, it's you see the I built this in a weekend thing. It's like, yeah,
Mhm.
we're all spinning out things in a weekend. But like, have you ever had a software like be alive for several months? Like the process of maintaining software is
Yeah.
very different than the process of spinning up a POC. And I think that's the expectations gap is in the maintaining side because
Mm-hmm.
they're expecting to be able to have that same level of like velocity and quality that you see when it's just like one or two features, and they're expecting to build like a system out of it, and it's not going to produce that.
I have kind of seen that vibe uh, as well. Like I think that the initial MVP, like getting it spun up so quickly, everyone's like, "Look how fast this is!" And the moment there actually is that bit of a slowdown of the maintenance phase,
Mm-hmm.
they're like, "What's the issue here?" I've actually seen like I feel like frustration in a few different areas where someone's like, "Well, I could just get this done so fast, so and so," because now they think because all they've ever done is the surface level thing. Look how fast it is to get stuff done now. Well, what do you mean it's going to take this long? I could do it even better than that. And I've definitely seen that like at least four or five different cases where people are actually underestimating the level of effort of maintenance because generating it was so fast, but they don't understand the generating it and scaling it. And
Mm-hmm.
like if you actually have people using it and whenever you're also like generating the code and like blindly approving it, then suddenly it removes something that was useful, but you didn't know why it did that because you're not even viewing
Mm-hmm.
all the code and you have to make sure that things haven't regressed. All of that comes into play. And I do feel like the attitude toward, with some people uh, is changed. So I think people are getting a little more cocky with software
I
engineering and
have
how
seen that
easy it
with
is.
developers.
Yeah.
Not so much with business people, but I've seen that with developers
Yeah.
going back to not respecting the actual work it takes to keep something operational in production, which I feel like it was very much in my career. It was when we started off, and there were servers, and there were entirely different teams who maintained the servers, and you literally handed over, here's the binaries. And there was very little concern about what it took to actually keep stuff running in production. And then DevOps, everything changed. And now I feel like developers are backsliding to, well, what do you mean it takes effort to keep this thing running in production? What do you mean the virtual server ran out of disk space and the logs? It's
like, I could do it.
I think, I'm almost seeing like a new like vector of like production incidents as well. So it's like if you have kind of an AI that's it's working, but it misses something like that you're not expecting, or let's say you give it production keys. Maybe you don't even mean to. Like, let's say you just have those stored somewhere and it finds them and it starts digging through logs.
This is happening.
It's like, oh, I found it. Look, it's this piece of data. It's bad data. I'll just simply delete it. Problem solved.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Error gone. Clearly. Pass it.
I've had it literally go, oh, there's a Vercel connector in your client. Let me pull in any environment variables I could use for this. Then run a migration that broke my vibe coded product because it found the keys, because it couldn't find them locally, because I just cloned them on a fresh computer. And I'm like, whoa. I had to learn that was a really good first lesson for me playing around with it, especially with a side project that wasn't live at the time.
Yeah.
Right.
Or live to
so imagine like if you have
in.
different, hosts that you're having locally, whether that's at your job or whether you work with different clients like I do, right? It's like it could very easily start to bleed data between these like tenant boundaries, which I think all of us here understand, multi-tenant data, people watching at home, depending on technical may or not. But, the idea is that if you're building software, we don't want a tenant from another part of the system, like getting data, like your data. Like you should only be able to access your own data that you own. And I don't think that like vibe coders necessarily have the terminology or the vocabulary to really give that to the prompt and say, hey, make sure you're adhering to multi-tenant data practices. It's just vibe.
Sandbox in particular, is super important. And I feel like people are just like, just let it run.
Right. It's like a Hollywood, just type in admin. And there, boom, you've got admin.
Or what was the famous show where they had two people like trying to counter a hacker, so like they both used the same keyboard. I forget which one that was, but two different hands on a keyboard.
Yeah, I mean, it goes. Instagram had a security breach like 2 weeks ago, where it was entirely a social engineering of the AI help bot, where they asked the help bot to change the email that the account was associated with, and then they asked it to send a password reset link, and then they had access to the account.
Yeah, we're seeing that on NPM too. So like, if you're a non-technical person, and the whole vibe coding thing is built on top of open source. So like they're pulling in all of these open source packages. So like if you're an attacker, that is an excellent vector to just get a compromised but vetted release out that now unsuspecting people who don't even like follow security trends, they're not watching for these alerts to pop up, like they could be infected, that spreads. Again, if that breaks tenant isolation in the environment that they're in, it's like what's the risk that you're taking by just being a tenant in these environments? Like they're very hostile environments because you have people, pulling in whatever on top of people who are probably also trying to maliciously and intentionally attack you.
I just feel like this could imagine like not just a contractor in the sense of like tech world, but imagine like you hire a plumber and someone shows up and they've never plumbed before, but they have Chat GPT. That's kind of like the level of trust you have at this point, right? Like, they don't really have any experience doing it, but they're like, I can figure it out. I have this great, amazing tool that shows me what to do, and it does a pretty good job at telling me what to do. And so they vibe code the fix of your plumbing, and maybe they get it right, and maybe
that's an interesting and very good analogy with the kid's genius brother, where a plumber is a licensed professional. Like a plumber has a license. They've got insurance and they've been certified, and all of this stuff. But for most plumbing issues, most people hire a handyman who is just a general handy person who knows plumbing and can probably do nearly as good of a job on any standard plumbing issue as a real plumber. But they won't have the right insurance if everything goes wrong.
And they won't have some other kind of like historical knowledge of like I had somebody come in my home and they were like, so if that water main's here, that means, and you could just see them doing the calculation in their head, like seeing the invisible piping in my home because they're so used to how piping is done in homes. And that context, which is super key in that term, and it's very key in AI, that context is super important for understanding, like, sure, maybe you fixed a leak, but is that going to cause some other issue because of pressure or some other kind of thing that wasn't considered for this because you're not used to doing that?
Yeah, and I think data is an excellent analogy for water in this case, right? I mean, it's like literally, if you understand anything about what you're building, you're just plumbing data through systems to get a result for people. You know, it's the exact idea.
And people get excited. Wow, there's water coming through. I'm a developer.
Right.
Well, to extend the analogy,
maintain this?
To extend the analogy, my previous home was a new home, and we were the first owners. It was a foreclosed. The builder built it, it foreclosed, and we bought it. So we were the first people who really lived there. And the one of the showers, the pitch of the pipe wasn't right, and the person who did the plumbing on that specific one didn't put enough straps, pipe straps. And so what happened over time is because the weight caused the join to sag, and then I had water in my kitchen because over time the data leaked, just like data if you vibe code it and you don't are professional. So I had a professional plumber come out and he looked at it. He's like, well, this is pitched wrong. It's like, I don't know that I can actually fix that because like it's here, it's there, it's wrong, and I don't know that I can fix it. But also, they didn't put the straps around the pipe like every however often you're supposed to. And this is exactly why you're supposed to do that, because now the pipe is sagged and it's leaking, and the join was no longer tight.
And you may have the argument of like, well, it looks like it's working to me right now.
Right.
It looks like it's working to you.
Or people just shoving in the integration
together and put some tape around it, and now it's good again.
Exactly. Like, I fixed the problem, and you're like, okay. And that's kind of like the vibe thing today, where if you're vibe coding guided by someone who's been engineering for a long time, then you're probably going to get a little bit better results than somebody who's just like this cocky person, or sharing like the image lately of like, you guys are cooked, and it's somebody like trying to share a local host link with you, like copy and paste the local host, like this kind of means. And they just don't get, like, sure, you've done something that seems to be impressive, but like all of the work is beyond that facade. Like the MVP, once you scale it, that's where the work and maintenance comes into play. And that's where that knowledge of, I understand why this is failing and what will fail in the future, get ahead of it so it doesn't cause downtime. It requires a bit more effort. But I think we're still in that honeymoon phase, like we mentioned, of like seeing the power of AI. And so everyone's like, I can do anything. And but it really is kind of like the contracting thing, where someone's like, how much are you charging for that plumbing job? Are you kidding me? I could just do it myself for that much money.
I get a handyman up there for $20 an hour.
Yourself. Yeah. Right. If you've ever tried to do this with vibe coding or with ChatGPT to like do a plumbing fix or an electrical fix, which I've tried both times, it gave me incorrect instructions. And I, let's just say everything's okay, but could have been bad.
Vibe coding electrical work in your home? Oh, shit.
Yeah. It's, they told you to turn the circuit breaker on, right? That's, I turn it off, but that's my first step always. But I hear some people just.
Yep.
It's not necessary.
I saw a handyman.
It's not required.
I saw a handyman do it, and I was like, "Dear God, how are you not?"
You're
dead?
right to push back. That's what it says to you.
Yeah.
Wait, what does shock me? I was mistaken. Thank you for correcting me.
Yeah. Exactly.
So it kind of goes back to what Isaac and I were talking about a couple episodes ago, where AI is going to collapse some parts of it, but it's not going to remove any steps. And so getting a viable MVP might be faster and easier now, but it still doesn't make running a production company any easier. Well, but like that's such a small part of actually having a piece of software running in production. And I feel like that maybe is the thing that hasn't changed. it's still there. Like AI can't run software in production yet, and it.
I wonder how it'll scale out people's personalities, because I've noticed that you've got the safe people, you've got the aggressive people, the very risk tolerant people, the people in between, and then giving them a tool where they can accelerate, where someone can like the safe people are want to be more cautious with how it's rolled out, but the salesy people, the engineer that's more like they can do a good
Cowboys.
job selling it to leadership, cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
If they can sell something, oh, why don't we just move faster? What's the deal here? AI can solve everything.
Yeah.
I can see there being an even crazier split between the social dynamic of the developer that's like, well, wait a minute, I'm an experienced maintenance person, and
Mhm.
we're convincing leadership that AI solves everything and we can run a lot faster than we can, and I have concerns.
That's right.
I think right now we're in the phase of the aggressive sales pitch viber, and then once we start seeing all the issues that will come from that, they're going to go to the let's get the AI what do you call it, like the AI
Like guardrails?
not guardrails, but let's find the engineers that are like the safety engineers that
The
are
safety taste.
yeah, but they're using AI as like just bolstering the safety kind of.
Well, it's like
Yeah.
cowboy programmers. For those who don't know, cowboy programmers are the kinds of people who will change stuff in production or tweak, not commit code and then release it just to see what happens, or not test before they release. Those kinds of people tend to hang out in startups where the blast radius is smaller, and then they get squeezed out as the company becomes bigger and more professional. Right? Like,
Yep.
if you have the ability to drop the production database, sooner or later you will drop the production database, and those people are just inherently too risky to keep on as the company grows.
They serve a purpose though, like at the very beginning.
At the very beginning, yeah.
Aggressively getting stuff done and like not caring if there's like fallout because you're just trying to get something in front of somebody as soon as possible or land a client or whatnot. Sure, but then there's like that sweet spot, where like aggression, and then like, oh, okay, this could be profitable. Now let's add some guardrails and security concerns and whatnot to protect the money maker.
Right. Well, that's the scale up phase, right? You start up, you have cowboys, and then they start getting squeezed out in the scale up phase, and then when you're in the steady state, anybody who's a cowboy is going to have left because it's too slow, and the risks are too high.
And there's jonesing for those risks.
They do, right? A cowboy, if you can't get on your horse and ride, then what are you even doing here?
Main character syndrome.
Yeah.
It's real.
Get out there with a gun and just shoot the thing, and
okay.
don't want to hear somebody say, no, but let's build a fence.
All right. Any other ideas on vibe coding?
No, I think we've landed at you can vibe code. Getting that MVP is faster, but it doesn't really change the long tail of running software.
Not yet.
Awesome. Not yet.
Not yet.
Anyway, thank you all for listening. I'm Jeffrey Sherman.
I'm Dustin Rea.
And I'm Isaac Askew, and this is Never Rewrite.